Hey Will, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, buddy. So as you just said before, you were watching UFC last night. What did you think of the fights?
Yeah, it was good. I was a bit disappointed with my friend Modestus losing that one, but shit happens.
Yeah,
Good fights. Brian Ortega's evolved a lot, hasn't he?
yeah, he was great last night. He looked great. Obviously, with him, you're expecting the ground game. Obviously, we've seen knockouts from him before, but he has evolved a lot in his stand-up. He's shown us a lot more of his game.
Yeah, I mean, he's become a lot more well-rounded since he's had the time off, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you said, Modestus. I spoke to Modestus before, and he's a lovely guy. And it was hard to watch him get knocked out. But like you say, that's the game we're in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jimmy Crute came in very confident. I felt he definitely believed in himself and his power. I don't think Modestus performed as well as he could have done. I think Modestus has more in the locker, but it's just one of those things. It didn't happen on the night. It'll get him next time,
Yeah, definitely. Modestus is still young, and he's going to come back stronger, I'm sure.
for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, on to you. You've recently signed with the Cage Warriors, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
That's big for you. I know Cage Warriors is a big promotion. Obviously, it's not the UFC, but it's a step forward. What did you think? What do you think of like Cage Warriors as a promotion?
Definitely got a good name. A lot of people know about it. It's had Conor McGregor being a double weight champion there, Michael Bisping, Joanna Jacek. Lots of fighters have come out of Cage Warriors, so it's a very good name, I feel.
Hmm.
But I'm just looking forward to fighting and letting the fighting do the talking.
Yeah. Is there anyone in Cage Warriors that you like have or wanted to fight in the past, or thought you'd like to challenge yourself against them?
There's not really anyone that I want to challenge. Like there's a name that I'm gonna call out and try and like I'll fight any of them. I don't give a shit. Anyone that puts their hand up, I'll fight. I don't care. Anyone in the division. So in other words, I feel like I can beat everyone.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to go in there and know that you're backing yourself fully, and like whatever name they put in front of you, it doesn't matter who it is. You're ready and willing, and you're backing yourself. That's always good to boost your mindset in a way.
I'm not in there to be a filler. I'm in there to be the champion. I want to be the champion within one, two, three fights, and then defend it maybe, and then go UFC. That's the whole game plan. I've been inactive as well because of Corona. I've had 5 cancelled fights. This year's been a disaster in terms of trying to get fights, but it's been a very good year in terms of skill upgrade. I've gained a lot of skills. I've had a lot of improvement in my game. Like the way Brian Ortega's come back and shown what he did, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to show a much more well-rounded skill set, more strength, more manpower now, just more maturity. So I can't wait to just show this new version of myself.
Yeah, definitely. It's good because like a lot of people have taken like the lockdown and stuff as a bad thing, and like some people are in different situations where they can train and can't train. But I'm pretty sure with you, you've got like mats and stuff in a house somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, during the lockdown, actually, for the first 2 months, I took it seriously, but I still had to train. So I had 4 or 5 people living with me. So I had different bodies still. And
Hmm.
if anything, I trained more because it also was a real eye opener. It made me realize you can train from home. You don't need to visit all these places and waste time traveling and spending money on train tickets when you can just get the help to come to you. So the mats in my gym have been utilized a lot more ever since lockdown because lockdown showed me that I can train from home. And I had 5 people living with me. I had 2 middleweights and I had 2 smaller guys. So I had a good mix up of different bodies. And yeah, we trained every day, 6 hours a day. And the lockdown was a real motivation because we saw the UFC happening and it was the only sport, MMA was the only sport that was on in the world, and it really motivated us to train hard because of all these fights. And yeah, I mean, I have all the stuff. I've got Iron Neck, I've got the dummy for ground and pound. That's another thing you're going to see next time. I'm not just going to be a guy looking for submissions now with a little elbow. I'm going to now be hammering people's heads. When I'm on the ground now, I'm going to be opening them up. The wrestling is there now because I've got Sidus Islami has helped me 4 or 5 days a week. The GB champion, future Olympic gold medalist. Grandfather was an Olympic gold medalist. He's got an amazing wrestling knowledge, and he's been helping me 4 or 5 days a week since then. And then, of course, I've got Kofi with the boxing has really helped me. So the whole lockdown, I ended up taking it seriously for the first month and a half. And then I said, fuck this. It's time to just ignore this bullshit and just get to work, and life's got to move on. This disease isn't going anywhere. So I've trained basically the whole time, if not more than I was before. So I just can't wait to fight.
Yeah, that's it. You can't just put your life on hold forever and expect everything to be okay when we need to start up again. So you're definitely right. You need to crack on and just do it. And then obviously with everything being locked down, it obviously gives you more time. So you're training a lot more, and in a way, being in that environment with fighters surrounded you, you get to know things about yourself which you wouldn't know if you're not around fighters constantly, learning constantly. Do you know what I mean? That's very good.
Now, very fortunate, you know, obviously, to have the mats in my home, and I made the most of it.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned that like you're not just going to be going out there for a submission anymore, and like I think you've got, is it 4 submissions on your record? You're a
4
professional.
professional, and
Yeah.
I think 3 amateur out of the 5 that I had. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the time, every fight that I've watched of yours, you've always, it's not like you've got bad striking, because your striking's good. It's still good, but it's just like you always end up on the floor because that's like sort of
Easy option. I've always been like that. If I feel like if I feel like I feel like, especially in the lower levels of MMA, as you start up and you got the amateur rankings and early professionals, the ground game is just so easy to exploit. And since then as well, I've now improved the wrestling to make it even easier to go to the ground. But the thing is, now I've got a lot more manpower. What stopped me before, there were some technical mistakes that I would make, but I've always had good finesse, but there wasn't enough science behind the striking like there was with the ground. Whereas I have the science of the ground like really on lock. I know how to just take someone out on the ground. Whereas now, same way you see Brian Ortega coming back, it's just there's more to it. I still may completely submit people and continue to do that, but there's a lot more manpower now. I'm heavier. I'm 5 kilos bigger than I was, you know, last time you saw me fight, and they were saying I was a big middleweight then. You could sort of see it in my last fight when I dropped him in the first few seconds with the kicks, and then I slipped on that shit canvas that UCMMA has with those mats with all the advertisements and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all I will say is actions speak louder than words, and I just can't wait to fight and just show the well-rounded skill set that I have now, because I can knock you out easy now. I hit hard. I really hit hard now, and I've got a lot more. It's not just about hitting hard and more size. It's also about the science behind it now. Kofi Dunker, my boxing coach, has really educated me on the sweet science. He's really taught me a lot of fundamentals, which now I have in my head, whereas before I didn't. And my kicking has always been good. Now I've got much better hands, and and even if I don't strike people, it's the wrestling's there to take them down with ease as well now. So I just feel like the fights are going to be even easier than they looked before, because my conditioning's better. I've stopped smoking now. I'm taking the sport a lot more seriously. I just can't wait to fight. I just simple as that. I can't wait to fight. It's been a long year, and I can't wait to have December roll up.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're saying, like before, you've had a long time off with injuries, coronavirus and stuff. So that all that builds up in you. And I must imagine like you're just bursting to be in a cage with someone and fight.
As I said, don't give a fuck who it is. Just want to fight. I truly mean that. Like, I don't care. I'd fight Israel Adesanya. I don't care. I think I can take Izzy down. I think I've got better ground than him. He's the better striker, but I've got better wrestling and jiu-jitsu and ground. I just want to show the fights now. I say everything's verbal, everything's talking. Actions speak louder than words. Let's just fucking fight. Just give me someone to fight and let me show you what I can do.
So have you heard anything about any fights on the horizon from Cage Warriors? Because I know I think they're meant to be doing another trilogy event, aren't they?
Yeah, I know my next fight will be in December on the trilogy at York Hall, which I'm very excited about, because York Hall has a huge history. Any British fighter has to fight at York Hall. It's just an amazing venue. It's got so much history. But as for names, I don't care. It's just simple as that. Whoever puts the hand up, and whoever they give me. If they give me James Webb, if they give me Richardson, they give me the champion, if they give me Ian Gary, if they give, I don't give a fuck. Any of them, it doesn't matter. I just need a name. Give me an assassination target, and I'll take him out.
Yeah, I love the mentality of that. Just like, just throw me in and I'm ready.
I believe in myself, and whether or not people view me as an arrogant prick or whatever, we'll see. Actions speak louder than words. We'll find out soon enough, won't we?
That's the thing. Like, even if someone thinks you're an arrogant prick, they look at you from now. But when you go in there and do it, that all changes. That's all flips on itself, doesn't it?
I don't care about being liked. I care about winning, and I care about myself and my own people in my circle. I don't give a fuck what anyone else has to say. I just want to go in, show what I can do, and move on from there, and just continue to beating people. There's a reason I'm unbeaten. There's a reason I've never lost, and I'm under the lights fighter. I'm someone who performs even better under the lights than I do in the gym. So I just want a name. I want an opponent, and I'm going to just keep saying that this whole interview. I just want a target. I just want an assassination target that I'm going to kill, and I study them like no other, find out all their weaknesses, and I exploit them.
So you obviously, speaking to you, I can tell you have an obsession with like MMA and all this stuff. So like, where did that obsession start? What was it like that got you into MMA?
When I was young, I used to play a lot of football, and I was signed by Millwall. I used to play for Millwall from 9 to 14, around the ages of 11 and 12. I used to play a year up. I was very, very good. And then all of a sudden, all these boys started getting a lot bigger than me. I was a very late developer. My mum was a late developer, and I followed suit, and I was just small. I had a lot of technical ability, but let's just put it this way. Just because two boys are 13 years of age, one boy may be 13 and one boy may be even 12. But if that boy's shaving and he's got, much more manpower and he's just matured quicker than the other one, they're not the same age. The other one's way further in development. And I was just that guy. For some reason, I was just that late bloomer. I was small. I had very kid-like features. I almost looked like 3 years younger than everyone in my age group. And it just was the way it was. I was just a small guy, and my football ended up suffering for that. I didn't have the same pace. I didn't have the same strength, and especially with the shit English game, where it's all about long balls and we don't play the Spanish tiki-taka style. I just, it's not that I wasn't able to compete physically, and that sort of affected my football. So I ended up going to some school that was a very good football school for independent schools. It was a mistake for football, because the reality is you're never going to become a professional footballer going to a school, learning schoolwork and then training in the evening when you've got kids that are training all day. It's impossible. But the decision was made. I went to this private school, this boarding school, and there was this kid who wasn't signed to a football club. He'd failed to get into football clubs. He'd trialed, he'd failed. He wasn't that good. He was lanky and he wasn't the most technical player, but he was bigger than me, physical, strength, faster, more speed, these physical attributes that I lacked. And we played the same position. And best way I could put it is there was just an instant rivalry between me and this guy. And he was the cool kid. He was the kid who was the hard boy. Everyone was scared of him. He was the tough guy. No one wanted to mess with him. He intimidated the kids in the year above. He was just this guy. He used to try and play this. With football, you have firms and you have how do you say? You have teams that have like their firm, like GSE. You have, what I mean? You've got these firms. He was always this fantasizing guy about being. He's a fucking idiot. But point is, back then when you're a kid, it was intimidating. He was a real scary guy. And I used to backchat him when he talked shit to me, and then we had a fight, and I lost in like 8 seconds. He took me down with some wrestling. I hit him a little bit. He had a bloody nose, pinned my arms again, as I'm saying, a lot bigger. And yeah, he beat me, and I said I quit. And then after that, I was tormented for years. I had my name. I had a nickname. It was Willy Bum Bum. I was called that everywhere I went. I was harassed by this fucker. He had a few backup dancers as well who used to just sort of hang around him and big him up. They just arse licked him pretty much. And yeah, I just got harassed by this cunt for years. And then that sort of ended up as when I was 16, he wanted to have a fight with me. So I said, I need to learn how to defend myself. So I went to a kickboxing gym and I started learning to do kickboxing. And then I went to another school that was good at football. But at this stage, the desire for football had completely gone. I had no passion. There were just so many wankers at this place that I used to go to that it just killed my spirit for football. I had no drive, but I had a lot of hate now and a lot of anger. And let's just say I turned that into fighting. So I went to Lions Pride MMA that was near Croydon. That was in Croydon, which was near my old school. And yeah, I just started training MMA every day, and I just started bunking school, going to the gym. I had enough of these private school wankers, to be honest with you. I just wanted to go to the MMA gym because that's where I really got taught an education, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy Manuel took me in, and never looked back since. It ventilates me talking about this stuff though, because it just there's a hate there, you know.
Yeah, I can tell. It's still like you can still feel it from back then, sort of thing. Yeah. So, what was it like for you and like your parents when you started bunking school and started going to like the MMA gym instead?
Well, obviously they weren't happy, but they also knew as well that I clearly had something that I was working towards, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
were they like
they ended up supporting me, and I've trained full time since I was 17.
That's great.
Every day since I was 17.
That's great. And obviously, it's good for them to see it now that you're getting recognised for it, signed to Cage Warriors and so on, and like it's going to be good for them in like a few years when you've done more, and then they're going to be like feel validated in a way for not being more harsh in a way back then. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, touch wood, we already know what's going to be the situation, unless I have some crazy injury. Mm-hmm. Touch wood, it's inevitable now, I feel. And again, not to try and sound like a dick or cocky, but I just know what I know.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked too fucking hard for this.
That's good. Like I said, that confidence is sometimes half the thing that you need is the confidence and the mindset. And that's what actually makes you get there, and not just get there, but that's what makes you put the hard work in to start with.
Yeah, I'm on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's different for these guys.
I can tell.
Scared to fight. They're scared. They're worried. You know, a punch is nothing to me. I think about. I love history. History was always my favorite subject, and I research about the Black Plague and wars and all this crazy. At the Battle of Agincourt, when 700 English archers fought against the French, and they were starved and depleted for weeks, and they still managed to beat an army way more. The point I'm trying to say is we're very soft. Mm-hmm. We're very, very soft, this generation, and a fist fight is nothing. It is Disney to me. It doesn't mean anything. Like where I think about, history and I put things into perspective, this is a laugh to me. I know the skills, I know the moves, I know all the weapons, and I just can't wait to. It's like my opponents, they're fighting me with a knife. I've got a nuclear bomb. I just feel like I know every part of that cage. If we're in a striking now, if we're in a clinch, if we're in a wrestling, Greco or freestyle, judo I could work on a bit more, but wrestling I still feel superior. And then with the jiu-jitsu and the ground and ground and pound, I just feel very well versed in this game, and I feel like a lot of these opponents, I don't feel like they have the smarts like me. I don't feel like they're as intelligent, especially at Cage Warriors. I don't really feel like there's anyone who reads this game like I do. I live this shit every day, all day. I don't do anything else. I sacrifice everything. I think about anything, I sacrifice it, and I'm on it now. As since I joined Cage Warriors, and I can see the path and I can see the route to where I want to go. The UFC. I've now gone. I was obsessed before. I'm now psycho. So I just think that's going to lead to one way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And obviously, saying about sacrifice, you sacrificed a lot, like to be like traveling around, like you said, and like buying bus tickets and train tickets and plane tickets. Sometimes, like you've trained with a lot of names, like some of the people that you trained with back then, maybe they didn't have a name, but now like Khamzat Chimaev, for example, you've trained with him before in All Stars gyms.
Yeah.
I've got a list of them somewhere. It's like Darren Stewart. I'm sure you've trained with Modestus before. I can't remember some of the other ones. I mean, there's quite a few.
Yeah, Pacheco, Alexander Gustafsson, Ila Latifi, Neiman Gracie, Gegard
Yeah.
Mousasi. I could go on all day. You know what I mean? I could go on all day.
Exactly, and that's obviously you have to sacrifice a lot of time and money sometimes to get in them situations to be able to train with them people. And is that like what is that part of what you put towards why you have this mentality of like you feel good everywhere because you've trained with people that are specialists in
I've had the shit beaten out of me.
exactly what I'm trying to say.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had it bad, you know, and I'm not saying like I've had brain damage to like I've only been, you know, I don't feel like, you know, brain damage, I've had that much of it, you know, but I've also been in the fire. Let's just put it that way. And I've also, through being in the fire, learned to deal with the fire and also come back with my own fire now. And I feel like this is the way it is. You have to go into the gym as the chimp sort of thing. I know it's a different species, but you come out the gorilla. And that's what I feel has happened. You know, I've done my time. I've put in the sacrifice. I've done the work. I've sparred all these men from 18, 19. I was sparring Hamza when I was 19. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've been in the fire from a young age, and I feel like now, coming up to 22 next month, I'm just ready now. Let's go.
And like, what would
None
you
of
say?
these guys can scare me. None of these guys can show me anything that I've ever seen that I've not seen before.
And like before you had your first professional fight, if you could go back to then and tell yourself something that you like, any advice that you could give yourself back then, what would you say?
I don't know how I'd answer that because it's just that's your first fight. I don't know what I could say. You just have to. It's not really advice. This is the thing. It's not really advice. You just have to live it, and you either are it or you're not. And you have to be tough, and you have a good mentality. And you strengthen everything the more you do it, and the more you persevere, and the more you don't quit. That would be my advice. Don't quit. But the thing is, I would never quit anyway. So, you know, don't get me wrong. There are times in this game where it can break you down a lot. The game is designed to break you down. The game is designed to essentially make you want to quit. You're constantly going up against resistance, and you have to realize that there is a way to overcome this resistance and eventually be at the offensive. But, you know, I wasn't born tough. I wasn't living in Peckham where I had to worry about dying every day. You know, I live in a nice big house at the moment with my parents. So I never had to worry about, you know, getting stabbed or anything. But when I went to this boarding school, when I had the shit, and being in a boarding school, being in like a little room for 3 years and getting harassed, that was just mental torture. And I feel like that allowed me to come with some darkness, you know. And obviously failing with the football when I had given everything to football. I'm just one of those guys with resources, but at the same time I'm dark as fuck. And I just feel like I'm coming into this MMA with a very different background to what most people have. They normally have a very poor background where they don't have money and they're forced to be tough. But I wasn't forced to be tough. I became tough through seeking this shit. And at the same time, I've been able to travel everywhere with the resources. So I feel like I'm a very unique character in this game.
Definitely. I feel like going back to what you're saying is like you can go into the cage and sort of find out the where you're broken or where you can be broken sort of thing, or you can find that out in training and work on that to be not broken next time. And the same with like you're saying, it's mental torture about what you went through. You can sort of put that into a sense as that's training for you to know you're not going to quit and you know that you're going to always fight back sort of thing. That's sort of meant preparing you in, because everyone says like you can go to the gym, train your muscles or whatever, but not a lot of people think to train their mind or stuff like that, do they?
Nothing strengthens you more than when you're doubted and when people doubt you and they put you down and they hurt. You know, the point I'm trying to make is I have a bigger thing than myself. That's why I can't quit. That's why I can't fail. That's why I can't lose. Because if I lose, then those cunts win. And those cunts aren't going to win.
I get that. Yeah. And obviously going back onto your relationship with Jimmy Manua.
Poster boy.
Yeah, poster boy. Is he coming back soon or what? Because I haven't heard much from him for a while.
Only he knows that.
Hmm.
Only he knows that.
Well, I hope he does, because
I
he's got a lot
support
of
him with
respect.
whatever he does, and of course, I want him to come back because he's the most one of, if not the most exciting fighters we've ever seen. Tell me one of his fights which was shit,
I
or where
can't.
he
I
didn't push
can't.
the pace, or where he. And let's be real as well. He started at 28.
Hmm.
I'll be singing that till the day I die. He started at 28. No experience, just a street fighter off the streets, tough guy off the streets, coming into the MMA gym at the age of 28 and becoming, at one point, number three at number three in the world. Guy's a fucking king. So
Yeah.
he does what he has to do. But he's been helping me a lot. He's sorted out the deal with Cage Warriors and that. So he's also a wicked manager as well as a wicked fighter.
Hmm. Yeah. How did it get about? Like you was working with him. Did you go to the same gym?
Day one, I've been with Jimmy. Day one, I've been with Jimmy since day one. It's the guy I started with. It's the guy I'll finish with.
Hmm. That's great. And does he come to your fights and corner you and stuff like that?
Well, obviously, he was always fighting and in camps for his own shit. He has cornered the more important ones.
Yeah.
And he has been at important ones, but he's a busy guy, and he was in the UFC, so he couldn't be with all of my ones, and not just
Yeah, of
that as
course.
well. Lions Pride, the gym that we trained at, it shut down, so I was sort of put into training with other people that he worked with, and he was focusing on his UFC career. He had main events at London and
Hmm.
OSP, and he was in Sweden a lot training for those fights. So but now he's with me. He'll be with me for all the Cage Warriors fights, and these are the back then those were just guys I was always going to beat. But the thing is, these guys are still guys that I'm going to beat and make it look as easy as it was back then. It's just you'll be more skilled now. It's just the way I can say it's like, imagine you're playing a video game and you're level 20 and you're fighting characters that are level 12, level 13. You're going to win. Now these characters are level 30, but I'm level 50. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's
Hmm.
like they're level 30 and they're better than the level 12s, but I'm level 50. I'm still going to make it maybe even worse now. Do you know what I mean? Because they ain't trained in lockdown like I have. They ain't improved like I have. They ain't obsessing over this shit like I have. They ain't on a mission like I am,
Yeah. It's like you've or pre-ordered a game or something, and you've got it 10 days early, so you've got all this time to get better, and then they're just sat in the mud.
Time is money, and I use my time well.
Lovely. And
Full
obviously,
time. This is the thing. Even if you start MMA at 12, okay, let's say you get through all the wear and tear and conditioning of starting at a young age and doing a sport, like Floyd Mayweather, his hands were all broken by the age of like 26, 27. He's just such an amazing boxer. He could adjust. I've had very few injuries, and I've been full time since 17, starting at 16, full time at 17. But every day, I've never had to do a job. Been very fortunate with that. My parents have always just supported me to just do this MMA. So that means all day, every day, 24/7 since 17, I've just been on this shit. And I don't feel like anyone really can invest that kind of time like me, and I think it's going to show.
yeah, it should, because like I've always thought with the champions where you see like Khabib and people like that, and Justin Gaethje, for example. I know he's not a champion and he might not be, but they have this work ethic where they're doing it from a very young age, where they literally have all the time in the world. Their parents are 100% committed to giving them what they want and what they need. And it's like Khabib's a completely different story, because he obviously had a whole camp around him since he was, I can't remember how old, I think it was like 6 or 7 years old, wasn't it? Where he was just literally built to be how he is now. But yeah, there's like other people.
Yeah.
I can't think of many names right now, but there's some people that literally are bred to do that thing. And
John Jones started MMA at 19, and
Mhm.
he was wrestling, and he just learnt his striking for a year and a half off YouTube, and he became world champion at 23. I think there's a mix in this game as well of like, you have to be an athlete, you have to have certain athleticism, and then at the same time as well, you just need the mind for it. And of course, people like Khabib, Gaethje, they were built from birth.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this is a game as well where it's a mix of, it's a real weird sport. Like Jimmy, 28 when he started.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's also circumstances as well. Like Khabib, he ain't had the boxing like I had the boxing. He ain't had the stand up, the Muay Thai like I had. He had the wrestling out there, crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
He had judo really good. He had Greco and freestyle wrestling really good. I don't think the jiu-jitsu and the stand-up, and there wasn't an internet. There wasn't the internet like there is now. I feel like with the internet and the new age that we have, people could just search up anything. You don't even need to go to school anymore. You can become educated off the internet. I feel like you're going to see a real change in fighters now. It's a real look-see-do era now, you know? Look-see-do fighters are coming through. And I don't know. Habib's a wicked fighter and he was trained from birth, but I don't think his stand-up's that great. I think he dropped Conor because Conor was tired from the first round, exhausted, standing up with him. His hands are a bit low. Habib throws an overhand right, clips him, and then back immediately to the takedown. You know, I think the guy is still a very, look, well, you know, he's a great fighter. He's very good at what he does, but I want to be a guy who, like, John Jones-esque style, where it's just, you're on the feet, you're fucked. You're in the wrestling, you're fucked. You're on the ground, you're fucked. The ground and pound's vicious, you're fucked. And he's an athlete. I just want to be like that. That's the sort of style I want to bring.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't wait to fight.
I can tell. It comes out in the way you're saying things, and like the passion I can hear in your voice when you say it. I can tell you just want to be in a cage.
Oh, just it's fucking depressing. Like the last year, but at the same time, I'm grateful again because I was able to train. But let's fight now. Let's go. Let's fucking go. I just want an opponent. I want to show what I can do because at the moment I feel like a verbalist, and I just want to show what I can do. Actions speak louder than words. But I'm trying. I tried to fight September 5th. That got fucking destroyed 3 days before. I was 87 kilos on the weight cut. Jesus Christ, from 94 to 87. And then you get told your fight's off because there's no corona testing. Jesus Christ.
That seems like that should have been sorted out a long time before then.
What do you mean?
Like they should have sorted out the coronavirus testing like before anyone started cutting weight or doing anything, shouldn't they?
100%. I was furious, but anyway, enough of that. We're a cage warriors now. We're professionals. Let's go.
Yeah.
Fucking go.
So obviously you're still very young for this game at 21, and you're currently a middleweight fighter, and like it surprises me that you're middleweight right now because you're massive. Like when you see a picture of you, you just look huge, and then obviously in a couple of years, maybe 3-4 years, you're possibly going to have to move up because, like I said, you're still growing.
Yeah, I mean, I will have to go like heavyweight eventually, but I reckon for the next 4 years, that's all I need. That's all I need. 4 years, be the daddy. Like, look at Habib. Yeah, his wrestling's amazing, but what really goes well with his wrestling is his size advantage. He's bigger than everyone he fights. And then he died trying to make the weight. Look at his face a few days before he fights. He's gaunt in the face. He's, you know, it's good to be the big boy. You know, of course, you need to be careful with the water cut. That's why I'm dieting now before these fights. I used to just do a crazy water cut. It wasn't good. It's not good for your energy. Whereas now I have a nutritionist who helps me with the dieting and the nutrition. And I'm still feeling, of course, you're never going to feel as good, but I have more knowledge on how to make the weight now. And I eat a lot cleaner than I used to. And I can't eat chocolate bars and crisps. I wouldn't be able to make weight. So I'm always in a constant diet where I'm eating healthy, but not to the point where it's like I'm depleting myself. I just don't eat shit. That's literally it. If anything, it's a positive. But yeah, of course, I'm gonna be the big boy. I'm gonna be the big boy, and I'm gonna be the strong guy, and I'm the tall guy, and I've got the reach advantage. I've got the 79-inch reach, and I'm 6'3". You know, come at me. And I've got 5.8% body fat was what I had coming into my last fight.
Fucking hell, that's low.
You know, yeah. So there's a lot of muscle for you to lose water, you know.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, it's muscle holds a lot more water than
I
fat,
ain't one
so
of
it's
those
easier to cut out.
sticks either. I'm not like a stick tall guy. You know.
Yeah, and
I'm bigger than Luke Rockhold.
Really?
I mean, Luke Rockhold obviously went up to light heavyweight, so he'd be bigger than me then. But when he was fighting at middleweight, you know, that's the kind of size that I am. You know, that I've got more reach than Rockhold. Maybe he'd have a bit more thickness than me. I don't know what he rehydrated to. I think he rehydrated to 96. But I rehydrate to about 93, 94.
Yeah. And how do you find that rehydration period? Like, what is it like for you? Does it like, because I've never spoke to anyone about it or never done it myself, so I don't know. What does it sort of
Well,
feel? How does it go for you?
the thing is dieting. You believe it or not, you diet, you diet, you diet, and then you make weight, and then you start eating. You know, I'm not going to say what I eat because that's for me to know. But then I eat certain foods, and the weight just goes back up instantly. And even though you've dieted, it's just, it doesn't mean that you now have dieted to this smaller weight. If you start eating, your body just naturally climbs back. It's weird. And then at the same time as the dieting, obviously the fluids.
Hmm.
I mean, you feel like shit when you make weight, but then after it's just like, dum, 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 and you just feel like your levels are just going up. And
Sort of just like your bars just filling back up.
like a video game, life is a video game. I mean, it is a video game. It's like that. You're depleted. Everything is like down low. I mean, I'm going to try and not do as much water cutting this time, more dieting.
Hmm.
And then the food is what? Vroom, 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 and then you're back up again. You know?
Yeah. And obviously, let's go back on to training with Kamzat Chimaev. How was it for you training with him? Did you like get any many rounds in there with him, or?
It was funny actually. Like, I've sparred him since I was 19. Last time I sparred him was just before I turned 21. And it was after my last fight. And it was funny actually. I was out night clubbing, and long story short, I got jumped after this nightclub night out by like a group of Romanian gang, and they
Mm.
tried to steal a watch off me, and I landed on my knee on the concrete while they were trying to attack me, and I did something to the bursa in my knee, so I had all this synovial fluid and a massive bone bruise, and then 3 days later you got to go spar Hamza. And it was good, man. It was a good experience. You know, it was a really good experience. He taught me a lot about his work ethic and how hard he trained. You know, seeing him in the gym, the guy just doesn't stop. He works all the time. His wrestling was fantastic. I mean, he also taught me as well that I needed to get better at wrestling. Of course, you know me, I've always been very good on the ground. I've got very good
Hmm.
jiu-jitsu, and my striking is good. The thing is, I've always been better in the gym at striking than I have been in the cage at striking in terms of showing off the true essence of what I can do. I think that's just maybe a mental thing back then. I don't
Hmm.
know. I can't wait to fight to really show, you know, the new side of me. I mean, there's been flashes. There's been flashes of me on the feet, but you haven't really seen a sustained a round or 2 rounds of me just striking someone out. So that's, you know, well, that will come when it comes. The point is, you know, striking in the ground. You know, I've been good, but he taught me wrestling. Needed to get that wrestling better because his wrestling was just remarkable. So ever since then, I've been working with Sidis Islami every day wrestling. But yeah, it was a great learning experience. It was amazing. He's a lovely guy. Horrible in the cage, but a lovely guy outside of the cage. And you know, it was great, and it was a good experience. Really enjoyed it.
And what do you think about like how far he can go in the UFC?
He'll win the welterweight and middleweight belts. He'll
Yeah,
win them in the next 2 years if he gets the fights and there's no bullshit politics. He beats Izzy and Kamaru now.
yeah. No, that's the thing.
He
Like
beats them now. He
nobody
does, and
wants to con.
people will say that I'm you know. But listen. I've gone all around the world. I know what I know, and his freestyle wrestling is probably the best ever in UFC history. Freestyle. You know, I remember Hamza has always been Habib. Sorry, has always been this guy who wrestles you to the cage and then from the cage takes you down. He can take you down. Hamza can take you down in the open range. He can take you down the open range. You don't need the fucking cage. The cage he can still work with, but you don't need the cage. He's that fast and explosive, and he hits hard as well. He's strong and his cardio is amazing, and his ground and pound is horrible. So you're dealing with a guy who's, you know, very, 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 very dangerous skill set, and unlike any that I think we've ever seen in MMA. So what do I think he can do? I think Israel gets taken down. It's like people go, oh yeah, you're talking crap, because that's the thing. You know, but who has Israel? Marvin Vettori was taking Israel Adesanya down. What the fuck do you think Hamza's going to do? Like, my God, like, wherever people can believe what they want to see, we'll find out soon enough. And with
Mhm.
Kamaru can't even walk down the stairs properly. He has to walk backwards. he will get beaten as well. So point is, time will tell. Actions speak louder than words. Let's see what happens. I've always said what I've said, and I've said it from day one. And I remember people be like, "Oh, but Will, that's what you do. You always big people up." And then look what happens. 2 strikes in the first fight, 0 strikes in the second fight, 17 seconds in the third fight. All right, until you believe me, just keep watching. Do you know what I mean? Keep watching.
Yeah, that's it. He's just got to get the fights in it, because no one seems to want to fight him.
I'm looking forward to getting more rounds with him and getting more training in with him and working with him more. It'll be good.
I don't know if you see the video going around on, I think it was UFC's Instagram yesterday. Obviously, in his first fight on Fight Island, he fought against John Phillips, and there was a video of him yesterday where he was actually backstage before John Phillips' fight, training with him, showing him a little bit of wrestling and stuff. I thought that was amazing.
As I said, he's an evil bastard in the cage, and when he's outside the cage, he's an angel.
Yeah, he's definitely showing that.
Just the way he is.
No, that's great. That is great. It's like I think when he first started on Fight Island, I think he had maybe like 30,000 followers, and he's almost up to 1 million now.
Yeah.
It's just showing, isn't it? It's just...
I find it so funny how Darren Till's talking. I'd beat Darren Till. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Anyway, time will tell.
Is that a matchup you would want in the future then? Definitely.
Look at a picture of on my gram, go all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see a picture of me and Darren Till when I was 19. I'm probably about 9 kilos bigger than I was then. Just look at the picture, that's all I'll say.
I'll have a look.
Yeah.
That would be, I would imagine, obviously, you'd have to win fights and so on and whatever.
Look, at the end of the day, I've got no following at all. He's got 1 million. But this is the game. Look at Hamza's following, how it went from 30 to 1 million. It's just it's an overnight thing in this game. All you need is opportunity. Opportunity is money. And if you get the opportunity and you capitalize, keyword capitalize, then there you go.
If that fight came together in the future, that would be huge, because obviously I find like whenever it's like England against England or anyone involved with any
British. I like to say British.
So yeah,
he can say England. I like to say British.
It's better to say
I've got
British,
too much. The Currie is a Scottish name.
Yeah.
So I've got Celtic blood. I've got Nordic blood, and I've got Slavic blood. So
bit of everything. Then that's
I'm a proper. I'm Celtic, Nordic, and Slavic. That's my regions where I'm from.
It's a great mix of warriors in that bloodline, then. Like what I was saying, like any British event, like combat sports especially, just blows up. So that would be like a massive event for you, like as a British fighter, and then Darren Till was a British fighter as well. That would be a massive event, I'm sure. Imagine that in London as well.
Imagine that at Wembley Stadium.
Go off.
I mean, obviously, I need to build my following.
Yeah, we're dreaming a bit now.
But this is the thing. Not even Muhammad Ali at one point. No one knew who he was. You have to start somewhere, and Cage Warriors have given me that opportunity now, and I will take it, and I will capitalize. So we'll see.
Yeah. And obviously, Kamzat as well. I think there was a picture that went around with you two the other day on Twitter, and he tweeted back at you, I think it was, saying that you should basically be in for a title shot straight away because you're going to kill them all in Cage Warriors, which is showing everything really. If Kamzat's saying about you, then it's got to be true, right?
Time will tell. Time will tell. I feel like I've done too much talking now. Let's fight.
Yeah, that's the thing. We just need to get you a fight, get you in that cage.
Let's get fucking going. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I've got the best wrestling now in the country. Trust me. I will show this now. Let's go. Let's go. So
I'll ask you this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Right. So I'll say year by year sort of plan. What is it now? It's October 2020. Fight December 5-0. And obviously, I don't know when the dates will be for the next year, but hopefully just try and get in every time there's a Cage Warrior show, try and get it in. If I don't have the title shot after this next one, the next one, so 2 fights, title shot, then if I'm not given a UFC call-up immediately, defend the belt, So we're talking about 4 fights, I feel. Then I'm 8-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of 2021, I'm making my debut in the UFC. And then by the end of 2022, I'm top 5 in the UFC. By the end of 2023, I should be, if not the world champion, and then defend the belt and go up to light heavyweight, because I will not be able to stay in the weight cut at that stage, I don't think. And then once I'm at light heavyweight, the conquest for light heavyweight begins.
Mm-hmm. And then would there ever be a moment where you're looking at heavyweight?
Well, that's when I'm 30. That's David Hay kind of plan. When I'm 31, 30, 29, that's when the heavyweight days come. Yeah, I will. I'll be a 220-pound heavyweight. I won't be 220 to 225 to 230. I don't know. I can't predict it to a T, but I'll be around that size. And of course, yeah, I know I'm not 265 pounds like Ngannou, but fuck it, I'll give it a stab. Why not?
Mm-hmm. I find like with Ngannou, he's like sort of the anomaly in the weight class, because he's huge and he's got like sort of the attributes that the smaller weight heavyweights have. Like, but there's a lot of smaller heavyweights coming through, like Tom Aspinall. I'm sure you've seen him. He's a smaller heavyweight, but he looks really good because he's got really fast hands, powerful hands, and obviously he's great on the ground as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ngannou, it's like a truck. I've seen the guy. I mean, I genuinely was in shock when I saw him. I thought, what the fuck is this? Like this, it was just that. It was like an alien. Like his head here, his arms here, leg. There was not like one. You'd even think, maybe the calves would be. No, the calves big. Everything was big. His ankles. Like, I've got big, thick ankles. Like, everyone says that my hands are huge.
Mm.
I was looking at him and it was like double the size of everything. I don't know what the fuck he was eating, but it definitely worked in terms of making him a monster. But I don't feel like he's the most skillful. That's why Stipe beat him. Stipe was smaller, but Stipe had, and I have the same hand size as Stipe. I am the same height as Stipe. I am the same dimensions as Stipe. Stipe's bigger than me, but he's also 36, 35. That will be what I'll grow into eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ever do go heavyweight, and this is a long, long time, you have to be fucking smart. You have to be very smart. And, that will be what I'd have to be. But I'd have to have crazy amounts of skill. That's the plan. That's the plan. I will. Each year I go more and more and more. And I know I'm not the kind of guy that if I make a bit of money, I'm going to just bounce out the sport. I want to be like a Floyd Mayweather, where I literally make the money, but also I want to have that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all, key stage 4, advanced. Right now, let's go for the next step, December, and let's take care of business and let's handle that. And, but yeah, that if you ask him for my whole plan, I visualize all this shit, I visualize everything.
Mm-hmm.
And middleweight, light heavyweight, middleweight 21 to 24, 25, light heavyweight 25 to 29, heavyweight 30 to 33, and then balance out the game.
Mm-hmm. Greatest of all time.
Listen, we got to go for December first, but fucking hell, we got to go December first. But yeah, look, who doesn't want to? Like, if you say to me, there will be people watching this, and they will be like, "Fuck this guy, fuck this guy," and I don't blame them. Maybe I have a cocky nature. Maybe I do believe in myself. But and I don't blame them for wanting me to fail, because I understand it. I get it. It's human nature. Some go this way, some go that way. But fuck you back. So all those people on the screen watching me, fuck you back. I hate you more. Watch the Nas song, Hate Me Now. I hate you more. So, whatever. I'm on my team. I'm on my people's team. Fuck you guys.
That's it. Love or hate you, they're going to watch.
I don't care about being liked. If you care about being liked, you ain't going to live long. Anyway, it's been an honour to talk to you, man. It's been a real pleasure. I've got food to eat. I'm starving.
That's great. That was the last question I've got for you anyway, mate. So I appreciate you coming on and giving me your time and that, and being so open.
No, listen, I'm an open book. I I don't have secrets.
You don't need to tell me all of them, don't worry.
Yeah, tell me your bank account details.
Only if you're going to be sending money to it, not the other way around. Anyway, thanks for that, mate. Yeah, take
Nice one.
care, and I look forward to seeing you fight again in a bit.